Under the banner of common prosperity promoted by Xi Jinping, China is witnessing a massive capital outflow. Due to its unique position, Hong Kong has become a transit hub for the wealth exodus of China's elite. On September 29th, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority announced that renminbi deposits in Hong Kong increased by 6% in August, reaching 962.5 billion yuan, about $134 billion at the end of August. On the other hand, the Hong Kong Foreign Exchange Fund, which supports the stability of the Hong Kong dollar's exchange rate and essentially serves as the government's fiscal reserve, decreased by 35.8 billion Hong Kong dollars, approximately $4.57 billion in August. This indicates the undeniable capital outflow from Hong Kong, and the scale is quite significant. During the recent National Day holiday, there was a surprising piece of news. The usually uncrowded Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge was jam-packed with traffic. Data showed that from September 29th to October 6th at 16:30, the border checkpoint on the bridge had the highest number of vehicle entries and exits among all national ports. During this period, more than 90,000 vehicles passed through the Zhuhai Highway Port, which is 3 times the number during the same period in 2019. One of the reasons for this surge is the trend of people from China rushing to deposit money in Hong Kong. This year's National Day holiday travel turned into a bank account opening spree. Many people from China traveled to Hong Kong just to open bank accounts, making a return trip on the same day. At some banks in Hong Kong, customers often had to wait for hours. Some people arriving at the banks at 7 a.m. found over a dozen people already in line. This wave of account openings has swept across Hong Kong. A particular branch of the Bank of China in Hong Kong, known as an Internet Celebrity Hotspot, typically opens at 8:30 a.m., but customers begin lining up at 7 a.m. Some popular banks even have a month-long waiting list for account opening appointments. However, even after waiting in line, it's not guaranteed that one can successfully open an account. Some banks require customers to provide a Hong Kong address or proof of assets. Others mandate a minimum deposit amount or the purchase of certain financial products. With the surge of people from China heading to Hong Kong to deposit money, account opening agencies have emerged, specializing in helping the mainland Chinese with the account opening process. One such intermediary said that they have strategic collaborations with banks, offering slots where no deposit or financial proofs are required. They can directly process account openings with banks like HSBC Hong Kong, Standard Chartered Hong Kong, and China CITIC Bank International, and receive the bank cards on the same day. Their fees range from 1,880 yuan, $250 to 2,880 yuan, $400. In addition to buying Hong Kong dollars and US dollar deposits, savings-oriented Hong Kong insurance has also become a channel for capital transfer. Policies offered in Hong Kong generally provide better protection than those in the mainland, and most associated savings and investment products are US dollar denominated and globally transferable. Companies like AIA Group, Prudential, and Manulife have seen a significant uptick in their businesses due to the soaring demand from mainland Chinese investors. An anonymous wealth manager from Noah Holdings revealed that savings insurance products in Hong Kong offer interest rates as high as 4.5%, superior to the 3% in China. He recently arranged for a group of mainland Chinese clients to sign policies. He mentioned that some clients are quite shocked by the sudden policy shifts of the Chinese Communist Party, growing increasingly pessimistic about China's economic prospects. The surge in the purchase of Hong Kong insurance reflects concerns about China's dim domestic outlook and general anxiety about an uncertain future. Mr. Liang, currently residing overseas, has been involved in investment and financial management in Hong Kong for several years. On September 7th, he acknowledged being aware of trends like mainland Chinese flocking to Hong Kong to deposit US dollars and mainland Chinese buying insurance policies in Hong Kong. He had even arranged such activities for friends and family. Mr. Liang revealed that before the pandemic, when the real estate market was still favorable, his friends from China, referred to as Friend A, sold a property, cashing in approximately 11 million yuan. Friend A wished to transfer the funds offshore for the use of his children residing abroad. Due to the annual foreign exchange limit of $50,000, friend A took the risk of using underground banks, first transferring the money to a pre-established bank account in Hong Kong and then to a third country where his children were. Another mainland friend of Mr. Liang's, referred to as friend B, was introduced to a young insurance broker from mainland China who frequently travels between China and Hong Kong. Buying insurance is a popular method to transfer wealth. After paying a certain amount or after a few years, insurance companies allow the policyholder to use the policy as collateral for a loan, which is akin to cashing out. Some insurance brokers collaborate with underground banks. Apart from purchasing life insurance for clients, they also assist in setting up bank accounts in Hong Kong. To operate with an underground bank, having a bank account in Hong Kong is essential. Underground bank operations typically require introductions through acquaintances, and only reliable contacts can facilitate the transactions. Some operators of these underground banks are backed by high-ranking officials. Mr. Liang once inquired about a transaction on behalf of a friend and was informed that tighter regulations would be imposed in 2 weeks, urging them to act quickly. Sometimes, due to heightened scrutiny, they reduce the transaction amount. However, Mr. Liang noted that funds moved to Hong Kong by the mainland Chinese might not necessarily be safe, especially now that everyone knows Hong Kong is not the same as before. If they have accounts in a third country, they generally transfer out as quickly as possible. He pointed out that cash transferred through underground banks can be moved any time, but assets transferred via insurance purchases have to wait until they can be loaned against. Veteran Hong Kong banker Victor Ng believes that the outflow of funds from the mainland to Hong Kong inevitably involves the operations and participation of CCP officials who selectively give the green light. Economic analyst La Ka-chung anticipates that future capital flows between mainland China and Hong Kong will become more restricted, making transfers overseas even more challenging. On September 29th, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority announced that as of August 31st, the foreign exchange fund's total assets were 3,975.7 billion HK dollars, approximately 508 billion US dollars, a decrease of 35.8 billion HK dollars, approximately 4.57 billion US dollars from the end of July. Foreign currency assets decreased by 22.8 billion HK dollars, approximately 2.91 billion US dollars, and HK dollar assets decreased by 13 billion HK dollars, approximately 1.65 billion US dollars. The primary reason the Hong Kong Monetary Authority cited for the decline in foreign currency assets was the withdrawal of fiscal reserves for deposits and the revaluation of investments at market prices, but the decrease was partially offset by increased interest income from investments. The decline in HK dollar assets was mainly due to the revaluation of Hong Kong stocks at market price. Veteran finance professional Wong Kim believes that China's foreign trade being sluggish and a massive influx of renminbi into Hong Kong, coupled with SWIFT data showing record renminbi settlement payments in August and the reduction of the Hong Kong Foreign Exchange Fund, it undoubtedly indicates that capital is flowing out of Hong Kong and the outflow scale is quite substantial. A recent analysis by former Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, Frederick Ma, indicated that while the capital is indeed flowing out of Hong Kong, the root of the problem is in Beijing. He described the current economic situation in Hong Kong as the worst in nearly 2 decades, summarized by the phrase, "caught between a rock and a hard place." To counter the capital outflow, Hong Kong's International Philanthropic Center is beckoning tycoons from mainland China, aiming to attract their wealth into the city. On September 11th, at the Philanthropy for Better Cities Forum held in Hong Kong, the Hong Kong Jockey Club HKJC committed a donation of 5 billion HK dollars as the initial fund for the establishment of the Institute of Philanthropy, IOP. Chief Executive of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, John Lee, speaking at the same event, stressed his intention to introduce policies to attract family offices and trust funds to Hong Kong. He also expressed confidence that the Institute would help promote Hong Kong as an international center for philanthropy. The Hong Kong Jockey Club Charities Trust is one of the top 10 charitable donation institutions globally. According to the Jockey Club's website, the charity's trust has donated an annual average of 5 billion HK dollars over the past decade, benefiting all segments of society. For the fiscal year of 2022 to 23, the Jockey Club has approved donations totaling 7.3 billion HK dollars, supporting 247 charitable and community projects. In other words, the 5 billion HK dollars allocated by the Jockey Club to establish the institute is equivalent to their average annual donation over the past 10 years. Political commentator Alex Powell, in his online show Whirling Clouds Valley, analyzed that post-pandemic Singapore has become a popular location for overseas family funds to establish offices. He pointed out that John Lee hopes to lure clients by packaging Hong Kong as an international center for philanthropy, aiming to bring their substantial assets to Hong Kong. Alex Powell emphasized that family funds can enjoy tax exemptions for charitable deeds in Hong Kong, with many expenses reimbursable. He believes that John Lee is beckoning mainland Chinese elites to bring money to Hong Kong. While wrapped in the guise of charity, the real intention is to attract these wealthy individuals, ensuring their assets survive under the protective umbrella of philanthropy. He cited an example of China's real estate company Evergrande, which, facing a debt crisis, donated 20% of its shares, valued at 6.4 billion HK dollars, for charitable purposes to the newly established Guoqiang Public Welfare Foundation, Hong Kong, in July. This move was perceived by many as an asset transfer. Alex Powell believes that if Evergrande goes bankrupt in the mainland, the aforementioned 20% shares and related assets will remain unaffected. Exiled former Hong Kong Legislative Council member Ted Hui recently told Radio Free Asia that various economic indicators show that the international community has lost interest in a no longer free Hong Kong. The political changes in Hong Kong over the past few years have led to the current dilemma. He stated, "I believe the top echelons of the Hong Kong government are aware that bringing in talents and funds solely from mainland China is unhealthy. Yet in today's Hong Kong, where politics takes precedence and with the wolf warrior diplomacy facing the world, the Hong Kong government has no other options. This is the tragedy of Hong Kong, symbolizing that its golden era is no more." For the wealthy, their foremost concerns are asset security and wealth protection. Xi Jinping's promotion of common prosperity has incited fear, not just among the rich, but also the middle class. Many affluent families believe that having funds overseas is essential, whether for the sake of asset diversification or paving the way for future immigration. As a result, many Chinese tycoons are taking risks to transfer their wealth. According to a recent report by Bloomberg on October 9th, an increasing number of wealthy individuals have been entrusting underground banks to move assets overseas in recent years. The report cites analyses predicting that over 150 billion US dollars will flow out of China this year. Bloomberg cited the real estate consulting firm Juwai IQI in August of this year, predicting that over 700,000 Chinese citizens will leave China in the next 2 years. The popular options for Chinese property investments include Australia, Canada, and the UK. At his report at the 20th National Congress of the Chinese Communist Party held in October of the previous year, Xi Jinping frequently mentioned common prosperity as a major future policy direction. He views common prosperity as a part of Chinese-style modernization, committed to regulating wealth accumulation mechanisms and adjusting excessive income. Amid the authorities' anti-capital and anti-monopoly campaigns, which resulted in many private enterprises being rectified, fears of a redistribution of assets have spread in China. Many are concerned that the authorities, under the guise of shared prosperity, are preparing to slaughter the fat sheep and seize private wealth. Despite China's ongoing economic challenges, the Beijing authorities continue to chant the slogan of common prosperity. On September 26th, state media reported that during Xi Jinping's recent visit to Zhejiang, he emphasized the focus on building a common prosperity demonstration zone, forging an important window to showcase this era. Xi remarked that Zhejiang should lead the way in advancing common prosperity and more. Observers note that the wealth accumulated during Deng Xiaoping's era of reform and opening up did not bring about common prosperity for the average Chinese person. Instead, it led to regional disparities, urban-rural divides, income gaps, and a widening rift between the rich and poor. Today, stark data and case studies show that the concept of common prosperity is entirely detached from reality. The wealth gap in China has not narrowed but has exacerbated, leading to polarized wealth distribution. Zhang Weiying, an economics professor at Peking University, once wrote in the Chinese Economists 50 Forum that it is the entrepreneurs who create wealth. A decline in the enthusiasm for entrepreneurship among the rich and entrepreneurs will impact job opportunities, consumers, and philanthropy, and may even lead the nation back to poverty. Zhang further emphasized, if we maintain our confidence in the market economy and continue to advance market reforms, China will move towards common prosperity. But if we lose faith in the market and introduce more and more government interventions, China can only head towards shared poverty. The Chinese Economists 50 Forum brings together a group of renowned economists of top domestic caliber, who enjoy a high societal reputation and are dedicated to researching China's economic issues.